Hello and welcome to Gears University. Today's topic is going to cover positioning before and during a shotgun fight. Most of this tutorial is going to be aimed at bronze through gold players, but if you're looking for something more advanced, I'll break down the clip you're currently watching at the end of this video. The first clip I'm going to break down is a simple 1v1 in open space. The clip starts off with a nice wraparound shot, but there's a much better lesson to be learned from the following 1v1. The first thing to note is that my team is at risk of losing to a trip cap, so this enemy is not a priority right now. I'm going to run past him in order to try and reach the B hill in time. As I'm running, I'm tracking the hill caps. I notice two things. One, they are not actively capping my home hill, and two, there is plenty of time left in the round and I don't need an immediate break. I hear him slide into the cover above me, and I know he's expecting me to keep running to the B hill. I'm guessing that he still has the Lancer out, but I stop running before I get into one-shot range of a shotgun, just in case I'm wrong. If he up-A's out of that corner, he'll only be able to hit me with an 80 to 90% shot, and I'll have an easy gib on him. I hit him with a shot that does at least 40% damage. I now have the advantage on this fight, so I'm going to focus on not letting him one-shot me, while also angling out his escape routes. The Swarm player only has two directions they can go. To the right is very dangerous because it leads back to my spawn, so he will likely get crossed out. So I'm going to assume he's cutting back to my left. You can see that I step backwards and to my right as I center my camera on the corner he is most likely trying to get to. This puts me safely out of his one-shot range, so I step up slightly to make sure my shot has the best chance of finishing the enemy quickly, especially with the damage I already dealt to him. Here's the fight played out in real time. Notice how I keep my gameplay as simple as possible when I have the advantage. I save the flashier movement for when I absolutely need to make something happen. This next clip is a similar situation where I'm able to read where the enemy is going and punish them for it. I also use more of the tools at my disposal to set the fight up favorably for myself. I know that my teammate and I are putting pressure on their home hill, so I made a quick check with my camera to make sure I could push safely with my Lancer. I know this is a shotgun tutorial, but softening up enemies with a Lancer makes a shotgun fight easier to win, and in this case I'm able to get it down. I see the second Swarm player running towards me, so I know I have to secure the kill quickly while also getting back into a good position to be ready to fight ASAP. I roll to the side and slightly behind the piece of cover to create the most distance possible. I know this player is taking a bit of damage from the Lancer, and I land a decent shot on them, so I'm guessing he's at 30 to 40% damage at this point. He also ends up in a bad spot where I can shoot him from my angle from a very safe distance. Like last clip, you can see that I back up and look at his only line of attack on me. With how much damage I have on him, his only hope is to get a one-shot on me, so I'm not going to let that happen. For this player, I know that he has to get into the hill to stop the 3 cap, so I'm actually going to play this a lot more aggressively than I normally would. If he turns to fight me, even if he does kill me, my team will still win the round. Here's the clip at full speed. Notice that even when I'm playing a bit more aggressively at the end, once I see that I only need that one shot to down the enemy, I will naturally manage my distance and step back to avoid getting killed instantly. Being able to manage that distance properly is probably the biggest key to being more consistent with the Gnasher, and can even help avoid some of the issues that come from lag. So if you find yourself struggling with your shotgun fights, ask yourself if you could have actually managed that distance a little bit better. This next clip is a 3-piece that I'm able to get because of my positioning. I do make a couple small mistakes, and I'll point those out along the way. This is mistake number 1. I just finished putting in 20 to 30% damage with the Lancer. I do the right thing and back up while I'm shooting to avoid getting one shot, but I should have walked around the corner a lot wider to make sure I didn't get chunked. After getting a little lucky on the first clip, I want to move and get set up in a place where I can see more of the map. So I move to the wall and look towards mid-map, intending to have my Lancer out, but seeing 2 people pushing fast, I keep the shotgun ready. In pretty much any fight, but especially with multiple enemies, you want to put in damage any chance you get, and it is safe to do so. Right here, I take a quick shot to put just a bit of damage on the first player up the ramp and make my fight a little bit easier. I need to make sure that I beat the Swarm player to this corner. My teammate and I are communicating, and he is telling me that he is actively crossing. He also puts a spot on the player, so I know exactly where the enemy is. With all that, I know that he has to push, and I have advanced knowledge of when he will make his move. I did expect that shot would either kill or down the enemy, but just in case it didn't, I'm still moving back and away from his easiest shot. I also get a little help from my teammate's Lancer, cringing the opponent and shifting his aim slightly. This is the second little mistake I make. I should probably have strafed to make my movement a bit harder to hit. You can see after this kill I do perform a quick roadie strafe just in case the opponent survives another shot, but I do also anticipate the second swarm to actually be closer than he was, and I'm hoping to dodge his shot if he is actually that close. With how far away the DB is, I know that this is going to be a battle for damage. Especially since I have my teammate crossing for me, I immediately know that I am not going to step any closer to the enemy this entire fight, and in this type of fight, it's important to apply damage as fast as possible. I use a little side bounce to avoid his shot, hit another shot of my own, and then go into a roadie strafe. Rolling and roadie strafing would serve the same purpose in this clip, but as you can see with the roadie strafe, I'm able to snap my camera back towards the enemy faster in case he decides to try and get away. However, I'm still able to keep my distance similar to a roll. The enemy decides to keep attacking me, and with the Lancer from my teammate and landing a solid shotgun shot, the DB is taken care of very easily. As we watch this clip in real time, notice how I could have died very easily because I didn't manage distance well against the first enemy. With the second enemy, notice how I cut off his path to get to me. Even though it didn't result in an immediate kill, it did make his job a lot harder. For the third enemy, it's important to understand the situation and not let your ego get in the way. Make fights easy on yourself. As promised, here's a look at a more exciting clip. It's the end of the round, and if the enemy holds the hill for even a short time, we would lose the round. I end up having to fight 3 enemies in their home hill, with a 4th quickly coming off spawn. Even in a wild and crazy clip like this, I'm still thinking about positioning. As I approach the fight, I see that nearly every enemy is focused on a fight to my right. This makes the decision easy, and I go to the left hoping to be able to hit a flank on those players. As I get closer, I see that the player with the meat shield is the only one who's paying me any attention. This allows me to quickly get in the hill and stop the cap and then get out again. If the cap is completed, it becomes much harder to stop the enemy from winning. When fighting multiple people, you're looking for as many one-shot kills as possible. It's very difficult to do that against a meat shield, so I decide that it's not worth the time to try and win that particular 1v1. I roll back to avoid getting meleeed, as getting stunned here would ruin any chance I have of clutching this. As I roll, I notice that the Cantus player still isn't looking towards me, and I've identified him as my first kill attempt. The hill is getting capped again, and I have no choice but to get into that hill. I'm able to pull out of the roadie run and get a shot off fast enough to kill the Cantus, who was just a bit slow. I do have to follow that kill up with the roadie strafe immediately, since there are 2 people looking right at me. When strafing, it's best to move perpendicular to the enemy. If I strafe to the right here, then both players will simply be aiming directly at me with myself turned around, and then I would have to fight back towards the hill right after. It would be nearly impossible to do. You can see here that the swarm player was expecting me to continue running and steps up closer to me. This allows me to turn into him and get an easy chunk. The best thing would be for both of them to back up and put shots on me from a distance. The rest of the clip is just a matter of making sure that I don't get one-shotted by the third guy. I do this by staying on the opposite side of the hill and working to angle him out on that corner. He ends up rolling and I'm able to take advantage of it. I then don't hit a clean shot on the 4th player and miss out on a quad kill, and I'm not upset about that at all. My teammate is then able to clean up the kill and we end up winning the round. When watching this fight, keep in mind that while it looks chaotic, it's all just made up of little fundamentals strung together quickly. If you're thinking to yourself that you'll never be able to do something like this, it really does just take practice. Focus on the tips I provided in this video and future videos on this channel, and those skills will all build up to you being able to pull off your own awesome plays. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week with a wall bounce tutorial. As always, if there's anything that you want me to cover specifically, just let me know down in the comments or you can tweet at me. I'll see you guys next time.